I finally sat down to do my nails the other day, and of course, I was buffing off some old polish that was still there and sliced right into my cuticle. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer, and today we're going to talk about lots of do's and don'ts for doing your nails with dip powder and gel liquids, aka the gel method. Drop a comment below and let me know if you've tried flake dip powders before. I absolutely love them. They are so fun to use. They give such like a fun pop to your mani, and this one was so gorgeous. It's called Slick Shoes from OG Dip Powder. The very first do for doing your nails with the gel method is prep those nails. I didn't show it in this video, but I do have another one that I will link showing how you prep your nails. That is the key to any good dip powder mani, whether it's gel method or dip liquids. Now, if you're somebody who's struggling with the gel method, let's talk for a little bit. Now, first of all, like, what even is the gel method? Okay, maybe you're new, you don't know a lot. All you've ever tried is dip liquids. The gel method means that you're using gel base and gel top to dip with instead of using dip liquids. Dip liquids use activator to harden. So dip liquids are a 3-step system. The first is the dip base, then you have the activator that hardens your dips, and then you have the dip top coat. And then when you top coat it, you have to use a combination of the activator and the dip top coat to get that shiny effect. But when you're using gels, there is no activator step. You just have gel base and gel top. So when you're using gels to dip, what hardens them is when you actually cure the dip powders and you cure your nails in the lamp. When you're curing them, typically what I found is you end up curing a little bit longer than what the directions say. I'm using the OG Dip Powders gel base and gel top. Normally I would cure the gel base for 30 seconds, but when I'm dipping, I cure light colors for about 45 to 60 seconds, and then darker colors from 60 seconds to maybe like a minute and 15 seconds. For me, I've noticed that dipping with dip powders, you do need to cure a little bit longer than you would just using like the gel base and the gel top on its own. A huge do in your dip powder gel method mani is to push back those cuticles. That's going to help you stop flooding your cuticles because you've already pushed them back as far as you can, not like anything crazy that you're hurting yourself, but you push them back the whole way you can, so it gives you a little bit more room to apply your gel liquids. You never want to start applying your gel liquids directly at your cuticle or any kind of liquids. You want to start a little bit back from your cuticle and fan out the brush and push them back towards your cuticles. This way you're a lot less likely to flood them. I didn't mention this during nail prep, but it's very important. You want to make sure that you use a dehydrator and a primer or bond under your gel manis, whether they're using dip powders, builder gel, gel polish. You always want to start off with a dehydrator and then a primer or bond that's specifically for any kind of gels. I did not show that in this video because I have builder gel down on my natural nails and then I use peel base. But under my builder gel, after I prep my nails, I use dehydrator and then I use 2 layers of primer. For me, when I use primer, like I was using the OG's Hema Free. I need 2 layers of primer and I go one hand at a time. I do 5 hands, dehydrate them, then 5 hands, 5 nails dehydrated, then I do those same 5 nails with a layer of primer, and then those same 5 nails with another layer of primer. You always want your primer or bond to be sticky. So if you're not sure if your primer or bond is for gels or for dip powders, if it's not sticky, most likely the company that you're using is calling it a bond, but it's actually just a dehydrator. Now, not always, but for the most part, that is what I've seen. When a bond comes with dip liquids, it's not sticky and it's really just dehydrator that's called a bond. I don't know why they do this, but for the one that I use under my builder gel is a separate dehydrator and primer, because the primer, you want that sticky residue left behind, and that's what gets the gels to adhere to your natural nails. Some other things that you want to do when you're dipping with gels. You want to be really careful when you're applying the gel that you don't get any gel polish on your skin. Now this goes like across the board whenever you're using gels. You want to use either some isopropyl alcohol or acetone on an angled eyeshadow brush and wipe up around your cuticles to make sure that there's no uncured gel on your cuticles or your skin before you go and cure it. Leaving uncured gel on your skin, that often leads to gel allergies. And like, look at all these gorgeous gel colors, like all the fun stuff we can do with gels. You want to avoid a gel allergy as much as you possibly can. Like, at least I do. I do not want to give up my gels if I do not have to. Some of the other tricks with using gels to dip. When you're dipping with solids or shimmers, you want to pour over the powder. You don't want to dip your nails into the powder when you're using when you're using gels. I personally don't ever dip my nails, like shove it in at the 45-degree angle. I end up with thicker nails, so I never do that. I pour over my powder when I'm using gels and when I'm using dip liquids. But it's really important when you're using gels, because if you try to like shove your nail in, you end up, the gel, since it's not set, like when dip liquids, the dip base starts to set right away, the gel liquids doesn't until you cure it. So if you shove your nail in, you're going to end up shoving all the dip powder up, and that messes up your beautiful nail that you just did. So you pour over the powder, or you can do what I'm doing right now for these flakes. When you're using flakes, foils, or glitters, or even like really small glitters, I always lay my nail flat into the dip powder. If you have a really big jar, you can really just do it in the jar. But for me, that never works. I like to pour my powder, whatever kind of glitter, flake, foil it is. I pour it into a mini cupcake liner. I always use mini ones. I probably should use bigger ones because I tend to spill a lot, but I don't know. I keep buying the mini ones. So like, note to self, please buy the bigger cupcake liners so I stop spilling. Anyways, if you are looking for more tips and tricks, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to give you this year, I'm working on really making sure that I give you guys tons of tips and tricks for doing your nails at home. After each layer of dipping, you cure your nails. You never want to keep doing more layers without curing them. Then you won't have your layers underneath cured, and you definitely don't want to leave uncured gel on your nails. So after each time you dip a layer on your nails, then you'll fully cure that anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. Once you're done dipping all the layers and you think, okay, this is the thickness that I want, I like to apply a layer of dip base over all my nails and fully cure that, for whatever gels you're using, 30 to 60 seconds. Then I take isopropyl alcohol on a lint-free wipe and wipe off my nails so that I can do any filing and shaping that I need to. Gels tend to be a little bit thicker than dip liquids, so I typically just file the sides to fix the shape back up, and then I go around an e-file bit to crisp up my cuticle lines. I don't need to as much with gels because I've really made sure that my lines are a little bit nicer since I have more time with the gels. I don't typically buff and shape the top of my nails when I'm using gels. I have just found that I really don't need to. Some people like to, they love the buffing, they love the shaping. So if you need to, now would be the time, because you've already wiped off that dispersion layer from the gel base with the isopropyl alcohol. And then you go back through once you're done filing and shaping, and you wipe your nails off again with isopropyl alcohol on a lint-free wipe. This is going to make sure that all the dust and whatever kind of filing dust you got on your nails, it's all off and gone, so your nails are ready to top coat. This is one thing that I always do when I am using a gel top. I always go underneath with a gel base. Another huge do when you're doing your gel manis is to wipe off the excess gel on the inside of the bottle before applying it to your nail. Gel is thicker than dip liquid, so when you're applying it, it tends to go on a lot thicker since it's a thicker liquid. And you don't want to start off with your gels being super thick on your brush, because then it's going to end up super thick on your nails. And that's definitely not what we want. When you have gels that are applied too thick onto your nails, then they don't properly cure. So you want to keep your gels thin. Always keep them as thin as possible when you're applying them. Another do is to cap your edges. If you're somebody who likes to wear your manis for more than a couple days or a week, capping your edges is key to keeping that beautiful gel mani, whether you're using dips, gels, builder gel, anything, it's going to lock it in nice. I cap my edges with both the gel base and the gel top because I'm never sure how long I'm going to keep my manis on. I do use peel base, but sometimes I keep my manis on for 4 days, sometimes I have 2 days, sometimes I keep them on for a week and a half because I'm sick. So you just never know. You always want to cap your edges with both the gel base and gel top. That is a big deal. And if you realize that you get too much gel on your brush during your application, you're starting to apply your top coat and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much gel in here. No big deal. Just take that brush and wipe it on the inside of the bottle and you can get off a majority of the excess gel. If you're feeling comfortable using gels to dip and you're ready to do really fun nail art and jump right in with all the nail art you can do with gels, then check out this next video. Thanks so much for joining me today, Nail Crew.